I've been having very insightful conversations with some of my clients. And as I coach the women in my programs, the Fearless Leadership Mastermind, the Bridge to Claim Your Seat, one of the recurring themes is the things that hold us back as women in certain rooms, as perhaps being the only one. Sometimes we feel that we are overpowered in terms of people speaking over us and feeling like there's no room for our voices to come into the conversation. And other times we feel like we have to work 10 times as hard to be able to achieve the same level of credibility or for people to view us as the high performing women and talented women that we are. And the conversation has been shifting more and more toward there are limitations that we cannot change, such as how people's perceptions are. And there are also opportunities for us to tap into what can I own that no one else can give me permission to do but myself. And the one thing that I have been drawn to as we have these conversations is the one question that you can ask yourself whenever you are in a situation, no matter what you're doing and where you are meeting with. And this question is going to help to activate you and transform you and shift you from a place where you feel limited to a place where you feel boundless and still remain anchored. So if you're ready, I'm going to share that question with you. And I want you to start using it, practicing it. Let's make this a practice, not a once and done. And the question is, what do I have to believe about myself to prevent me from blank? Whether that's speaking up, whether that's feeling like you belong in that room, whether that's knowing your worth. Let's use that as an example. What do I have to believe about myself to question my value and worth in the office? I'm just going to ask the question. I'm not going to answer it for you. When you ask yourself that question, what do you have to believe about yourself? What will happen is you're going to begin exposing and putting on the table all these stories, beliefs, fears that you're carrying around, which, by the way, in no way give you courage or help you or promote you or support you in reaching your career goals. So notice how we can be so busy and be so self-centered, focused on ourselves and how we sound and how we're coming across and what they think. And when you are so busy doing all of this, there's no room for the creativity, for the resourcefulness, for the curiosity that will help you show up in a valuable and attractive way. And when I say that is, we become attractive when we walk into a room and our contributions are valuable. Our questions are on point because we're listening and focused on solving the problem instead of how do I sound and what are people going to say. And if you are feeling that there is no room in that space for you to speak, ask yourself the question, what do I have to believe about myself that will prevent me from speaking right now? Because everybody else is speaking and everybody else is not raising their hands to speak. They just share what they have to share. So if you begin to dissect those limitations, you will begin to dismantle them and destroy them, which is the equivalent of slaying the dragons that are holding you back. That is what we have control over. We have control over changing what is happening between our ears while everything else will stay the same externally. With this empowered and transformative approach, you can now begin to dismantle your obstacles internally which will empower you to show up in a much different way, in a much more confident, assertive, kind, loving way, because you won't be so bogged down with this internal dialogue, this negative self-talk that keeps us in a box. I want to hear from you about how using this strategy and this approach and asking yourself this question whenever you're in this type of situation, how this can help you. Share with me how you're going to apply this and how it lands for you. Because if you are a little bit hesitant to even try it, to me, that's a big sign that it will support you tremendously. If you are willing and able to adopt it and to try doing it, and not just try, because there is no such thing as trying, there's just doing. If you want to do it, see what happens. And you will see that you will be empowered to now do things and show up in an elevated way that elevates, by the way, your executive presence, that elevates your contributions, that elevates your sense of belonging and your sense of well-being, and that elevates your joy because you're not keeping yourself unhappy. And I know this may sound like, Ginny, how can I keep myself unhappy? How? Based on the choices we make every day. One of my clients today, she and I were doing our private coaching, and she said to me, Ginny, I feel intimidated at times when I'm in certain rooms and I am the only woman of color in the room. And I asked her the question, what do you have to believe about yourself to feel intimidated? And she gave me a list that they're smarter than me, that they went to better schools than me, that they whatever, right? And when she was saying it, when she finished saying it, she was like, OMG, I am giving them my power. And the answer is yes, we are. People are not the ones who trigger us. We trigger ourselves when they say or do something. We get triggered inside by ourselves. No one has the power to go inside of us and say, I am going to trigger you. No one has that power. And so what are we doing? How are we giving away our power? And the way to take it back is to own it, own what's ours. And just like people have put you down in the past, people have also given you accolades. And have you noticed how we choose to focus on the people who've put us down instead of the people who've promoted us and cheered for us and advocated for us? It's how our brain is wired. So we need to rewire our brain to, when we see it going down that rabbit hole of negative self-talk and doubt and fear and imposter syndrome, to stop it on its tracks and say, what do I have to believe about myself to believe that what Ginny said is true about me? What do I have to believe about myself to believe Ginny, who just put me down? I have to believe her in order to be put down. If I don't believe her, she won't be putting me down no matter what she's saying, because I don't believe it. So notice how much power you gain back and how you will feel in your own skin when we begin to take our remote control back and stop giving other people the power to make us feel blank. Because I make myself feel blank. No one else has that power. So let's get our power back. And it all starts by developing our mindset, by developing professionally and personally. That is the one investment that will keep giving you more and more and more returns. And the more you practice, the more returns you get back. The clothing, the shoes, the bag, is a purchase that we make and it goes in the closet. Like I have a pile of shoes over there that I need to get rid of because I haven't used them. That is not going anywhere. It won't give me any return on my investment. However, investing in your professional and personal development and developing a growth mindset where you start to question your beliefs, that's going to pay you in dividends. So you ready? If you're ready, let's do this. You can always reach me at callwithginny.com, where you also get to my beautiful website, and you will have access to valuable resources you can leverage beginning today. Live with purpose, live with joy. I'll see you soon.